maybe the item in the MMA community that is up for discussion the most is the UFC pound for pound list. The 15 best fighters in the Ultimate Fighting Championship, regardless of weight class, get ranked on a scale or in a list from 15 up to 1. And I'm going to put all those discussions to an end today. In a tier list form. I'm a little bit lazy. I don't want to make graphics for 15 guys, for 15 viewers. I love you, 15 viewers. Thank you. But I'm not doing that. Anyways, check out the bar right. Oh, hang on. Ooh, right there. Like and sub. Follow the IG. So we'll start at 15 and... Big Mog at 15, and I hate this because I actually don't think he's an amazing fighter, but he was undefeated for most of his career. A lot of it, showed no heart against Paul Craig when he beat him for 3 rounds, and all of a sudden he taps out with like a second left. Beat Alex Pereira with a broken left hand, just so everyone knows, and then had the worst title defense of all time against Alex Pereira, butt scoon his way to the cage. Really embarrassing from Big Mog. But he did beat Alex Pereira. So he does get to keep a spot in the top 15. But trust me, he's on his way out. He is on his way out as soon as I get the chance to put him out. Coming in at 14 is someone who's been here for a long time. Max Holloway, I had him at 10 or 11 leading into his fight against Charles Oliveira. And when you get active grappled like that on the ground, you lose 5 rounds. Maybe there could have been a 10-8 in the first or the second. You bump down a little bit, and it sucks because Max Holloway's awesome. He beats a lot of other fighters, but Charles Oliveira was just no match, and I called that. I hate to be that guy, but I called that. I'm hyped about it because usually I'm wrong, but I called it. Coming in at 13, someone else who has no ground game, JDM. This is someone who could fall off very shortly, leading into his fight against Carlos Prates. But the reason JDM's here is because he had the belt. He beat Bilal Muhammad, who was pretty highly touted on this list before he fell off. But he did get Daggy smudged by Islam Makhachev. He got 50-45 by him. Arguably the most boring fight in UFC history. But he keeps his spot at 13 because he did beat Bilal Muhammad. And he did beat Gilbert 170, Michael Chandler, Burns. Was a champion. So he's one of the champions that gets to stick around. Number 12. We have our first champion of the list. Charles Oliveira. When you take out someone who was at number 10 or 11 on my list prior, you're going to move up. And in the facet that he did it, definitely gets taken into consideration. Active grappling, almost sub Max Holloway, which is pretty much impossible to do. Maybe it is impossible. I think it actually is impossible to do. I don't think he's ever lost. The first time he ever got finished was by Ilya. So he's never been submitted before, and Charles almost had him a couple times. Maybe Charles fights for the vacant lightweight championship against Arman Sarukian. Once Ilya Topuria goes up and knocks out Islam Makhachev. Anyways, we've got another former champion, someone else who got Daggy smudged. There's a big coincidence with a lot of these people here. Daggy smudge, active smudged, Daggy smudged, active smudged, Daggy. So these guys are all linked somehow. They're all linked somehow. But DDP beats Israel Adesanya, beats Sean Strickland twice. Who's coming off a win against Fluffy, who I was never high on, but a lot of people were. Knocked him out. Now he's fighting Hamzat, who will be on this list. DDP, he's coming back for that belt. Whether it's Kyle Barrio or Nasruddin Mavov. He's going to win his next fight regardless of who he faces. Unless it's Hamzat. And I think DDP knows what he has to do to take out Hamzat Chimaev. Anyways, that's a discussion for another video. Let's go in at number 10, who is the most dominant former champion on this list. Rob Dvalishvili. Let's get him up there. losing to Piotr Jan 50-45 after 50-45ing him in the first matchup, it was tough. And I did tell my boy Moots, I was sitting in my boy Cum's kitchen, and I was sitting on the little railing there. And I was whispering in his ear. I was like looking down on him because he was sitting in front of me, and I was like, Piotr's just going to get him. I was just like, he's just going to get him, isn't he? Rob's going to come back, though. Rob's going to come back at number 10, beat Sean O'Malley twice, who was really high on this list. Beat Corey Sandhagen, outboxed Corey Sandhagen, beat Umar Nurmagomedov, beat Jose Aldo. Merab's got a ridiculous resume, and he could bounce back with a win. This is someone who was damn near GOAT status. And losing to Piotr Jan kind of put a halt on that. But he's not done yet. At number 9, Alessandro Pantoja. I know I mentioned that Merab is the most dominant former champion on this list. Pantoja kind of has a silhouette of his belt around his shoulder in this photo. I don't know if you can see it, but he's got a silhouette of the belt around his shoulder because he technically never lost it. But it's weird. Like, I put him below Joshua Van, even though he technically didn't lose to him. It's a weird spot, but in my mind, you have to have every single champion up there. Unless there's someone who vacated the belt. But if you lost in a championship fight, I can't put you in the top 8. I can't do it. And it pains me to do so because I think Merab's a better fighter than some of the champions up there. I think that DDP is a better fighter than some of the champions up there. I think Alessandro Pantoja is better than some of the champions up there. But this is the pound for pound list based on resume and somewhat of a performance. So coming in at number 8, I like Josh Van. I do. But it's really tough putting him at 8 when he's clearly the second worst fighter on this list. Big Mog. But, it's tough putting him up here above a guy like JDM, above a guy like DDP. But he did beat Alessandro Pantoja. And he did beat Brandon Royval. Almost knocked him out. So he does deserve to be here, and he's probably going to be here for a long time. Whether he wins his next fight or not. Well, if he loses his next fight, he's probably not going to be on here. But if he wins his next fight and loses the one after, he's probably going to be in the same situation as like a JDM, where he's going to be at the bottom, and he's only like 23 or 24, right? Shout out Josh Van. He's a fun fighter. He's an active fighter. I don't like hating on him, but it's valid. Anyways, at number 7, Big Tom, the Big Brit, Tom Aspinall. I'm of the mind where I don't know if he's going to fight in the UFC ever again. Now that he's represented by Eddie Hearn and everything around it, first off, Eddie Hearn runs Matchroom Boxing. He could put a contract in front of Tom Aspinall, be like, hey, look, take a look at this kit that I'm going to give you. This is how much money to box. And Tom Aspinall will be set up for life. He's got a couple children. He knows. And if he's making like less than $1 million a fight in the UFC, and he could go out and make 15 in boxing, if the relationship isn't there with Dana White, maybe he's there. Maybe he's in boxing. But for now, he's at number 7. Going in at number 6, I'm looking at my list right now that I wrote down. Piotr Jan. Piotr Jan at number 6. You 50-45 Merab Dvalishvili, you could deserve to be higher. But his resume isn't the best. He has lost a few times. To Aljo, lost. To Merab, to Umar. But number 6, if you do beat Merab Dvalishvili, regardless of who you are, you're going to be in that top 6. Piotr Jan, I think he loses to Umar. I think he loses to Sean. I think he loses to Merab, but he's not on the level that Josh Van is. Like, he's not as bad as Josh Van. He's a better fighter than Josh Van. He's a way better fighter than Magomed Ankalaev. But it's tough to put him there. It's tough to put him there because I'm not the biggest Petr Yan guy. But based on resume and accomplishments, he does deserve to be here. And at number 5, see, this is tough. Like, I feel like I might need to add a gap here, and I think I'm going to. I think I'm gonna add a gap here. Hang on, I'm gonna add a gap because I don't feel comfortable doing this. Big gap. Big gap. Anyways, starting off the top 5, we got Alex Volkanovski. Lost to Islam once, beat Islam once, got knocked out by Ilia Topuria, and it's unfortunate that there's just 4 fighters that currently have more pop than him in the pound for pound rankings. Someone who comes back and beats Diego Lopez twice, wins the title, then defends it against Diego Lopez, who knocked out Gene Silva. You know what I mean? He gets top 5. It's one of the greatest to ever do it. Might be top 3. Definitely top 5 of the greatest to ever do it. But unfortunately, there's just guys there right now that are better. And now there's some decisions to make here. Because I could go with someone who, if he wins his next fight, he might be the greatest of all time. Or in that discussion, 3 weight division belt holder. He'd hold belts in middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. Or I could go with the undefeated separatist Russian Daggy Smudger Khamzat Chimaev, who just won his belt, who only has 1 belt, never defended it. And I think I'm going to have to put my pride to the side and put Alex Pereira at number 4. And I'll give you my reasoning in a second. Someone who's only lost to Israel Adesanya and fluked a loss to Big Mog. But I think he's finished every single title fight he's been in. The only thing he hasn't finished in the UFC, Bruno Silva and Jan Blachowicz. But I mean, he's up here. Like, you knock out Big Mog in the way that you did. Scooted his ass to the back, hit him with the what is that? Don't tell this guy no Shama, man. Don't tell him no Shama. But, if he beats Cyril Gane at the White House in the co-main event, he's in the GOAT conversation. And he's 1 win away after that from being maybe undisputed. If he beats John Jones, if this next fight was against John Jones and he won, he'd be the GOAT. And somehow Big Mog would have a win over the GOAT. But I think people would look at that as like the Matt Serra, where all right fighter. It was just his night. Someone else who just had their night, Khamzat Chimaev, man. And I'm going to put my bias to the side because he didn't just have his night. Someone who's one of the most dominant fighters in the world. You 50-44 DDP who finished pretty much everyone in the path, aside from Sean Strickland. Beat Kamaru Usman. Even though that was probably 29-28 Usman. On short notice too, by the way. Yeah, I really don't have much to say about this, to be honest. I really don't have that much. I'm going to put my bias to the side and put him at 3, but I really don't want to talk about him. And I got another Southern Russian, if I can get him up. We got Islam at number 2. And the reason behind this, I'm actually going to put Islam at 1. He's gone up, got another belt. Smudged JDM, who had nothing for him, going up a weight class. Someone who could arguably be the GOAT of mixed martial arts. And it's kind of just a situation where he's not the best fighter, but he's the most accomplished on this list right now. Um, and I think it's another situation where if Ilya comes up and knocks out Gaethje, I think Ilya's going to take that number one spot right back. So, oh my God, that's actually kind of nuts. Hang on a moment, man. Yeah, I don't even have Gaethje on this list. Hang on a freaking second, man. Dude, get Big Mog off this damn list. We're putting Justin Gaethje at 15. He's got an interim belt. Big Mog got no belt. You know, Justin Gaethje has an amazing fight with Paddy Pimblett on the first card of the Paramount era. Get Big Mog off this damn list. Let's put Ilya Topuria at number 2. Because now I'm fired up. Man. Ilya Topuria at number 2. He's the most skilled fighter to ever do it. And he's very much so on pace to be the greatest of all time. And he could put a lot of distance between him and who's next if the cards align or if the stars align. Beating Arman Tsarukyan, knocking out Islam Makhachev. You know, there could be a big gap there. Anyways, that's my top 15. We're going on about 17 minutes of recording. So we'll go over it one more time. These are the guys we left out. Ian Gary. Yuri, who, you know, knocks the hell out of Big Mog. Movsar and Arman Tsarukyan. If I were to rank, I would do... I guess I'd do Big Mog, Arman, Yuri, Ian, Movsar. That would be the list. Gaethje, Holloway, JDM, Charles, DDP, Merab, Pantoja, Van, Aspinall, Yan, big gap. Volk, Pereira, Hamzat, Ilya, and Islam. That's my list for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and sub, and follow the Instagram.